What's up, YouTube? Ryan and Alex back from Dopamine again. We are discussing our roster picks and predictions for the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics happening next February. Next on our list for discussion will be Sweden, but we'll be doing each of the major countries over the next couple weeks, so look out for those coming soon. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more dope hockey content. Let us know your picks in the comment section down below. Alex, what do we got for Sweden?
We're going to start with the goaltenders, as we did last time.
Yes.
Number one, the starting goaltender. I love Robin Lehner. I've been a fan of him since he got drafted in Ottawa. I'm a huge Ottawa fan. I know his dad was the goalie coach that coached Henrik Lundqvist. He's got like a good upbringing, and he has shown in the past 3 or 4 seasons that he can be, not only just a starting goaltender, but the top 10 maybe goaltenders in the entire league that I think he's always been projected to be, and I'm glad to see him do it through all the struggles with mental health that he's come out and talked about.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Robin Leonard too, and obviously plays on a really good team in Vegas. So putting him on the Olympic roster with such this immense amount of talent would be great for him. Also, we have Jakob Markstrom and Linus Ullmark. I think this is our goaltending situation in Sweden. I don't think there's really any other guys that could sneak in there. Markstrom had an amazing year a couple years ago. Not so much in Calgary so far. And Linus Ullmark was one of the only bright spots in the Buffalo Sabres season last season. See how he does in Boston, being surrounded by better players and a better team. So
Think he might not start the season, but when he does come back, he'll be healthy. He'll like if in Boston, like he'll have a good season, like
yeah,
completely change the scene, new scenery, new team, out of Buffalo. Uh,
yeah,
I project
and
him, having a good start.
I think Leonard's your starter, but I think either one of those guys could be the backup.
hmm with we talked about with Team Canada, there's so many goaltenders. You just pick the hottest one, but when you start getting into other countries, you only get like with Sweden, 3 or 4 different goaltenders you could even pick from, and that it's just whichever one's doing better at the time. I think it's easier for us to project that these three are gonna be the goaltenders.
I agree.
Whichever one plays is up in the air, but it will be one of these three.
I agree. I agree. Our first line defense, I think, is pretty easy. Is Victor Hedman and John Klingberg. Hedman is one of the best defensemen in the league, the best Swedish defenseman in the league for sure. He's your number one guy. Klingberg, I think, is very good in Dallas, and playing with Hedman, a guy like that, would stabilize his game. Is not a great defensive guy, but I think playing with Hedman on that first line is incredible.
hmm Couldn't agree more. That's
Second pairing, we went back and forth on this a little bit. We have Matthias Ekholm and Erik Karlsson. Alex?
It's a bit of a tough one for us, but I've really liked Ekholm's game. I think in the past 2 years, he's really shown why there's such a demand for him. At the trade deadline last year, Nashville didn't move him because I don't know if they didn't get the right offer, if they realized he's just too good for the team and they needed him. He really helped them close out the season. And with a guy like Erik Karlsson, who was also kind of Klingberg struggled defensively at times, but with a guy like Ekholm could like help, on an international scale, could really like shine offensively, and that could be a crazy threat of a second line to have Erik Karlsson on.
Yeah, and as much as Erik Karlsson has struggled in San Jose, putting him on this team, without
hmm
Erik Karlsson's contract is too big. Just from a skill perspective, he deserves to be in a top four.
Yeah.
Our third line here. Oh, we got OEL and Adam Larson. Uh, OEL kind of has dropped down in the best defenseman in the league realm, as he was very highly touted a couple years
hmm
ago. But could have a very, very good year in Vancouver. And Adam Larson, I think, is just solid, great defensive defenseman.
hmm
Big dude, strong. One of the Seattle Kraken's best defensemen going into this year. I think that's an easy pick for a bottom four right side defenseman. Adam Larson could really
hmm
stabilize this defensively. Him and Ekholm, if you needed to put them on the same line to like shut down somebody, and in the last 2 minutes of a game or something, I think Ekholm or Hedman and Larson would be incredible. Um,
Yeah,
and
and on the international level, when you're facing a team, like Canada or US or Finland, they just have so much offense. You might need to have that shutdown kind of D pairing that, Canada can kind of go without having, they can have a different kind of D setup. But if you're not as good as Canada, you need to be, think about playing a stronger defensive game. And that's why I think Larson could be a really valuable member of the team.
and just as extra guys who could sneak in depending on injury or uh, their play, maybe get them into the lineup. But we got Brodin and Dahlin. Rasmus Dahlin, if he has a good year in Buffalo, not a great season last year, but I think just as like the future of Swedish defensemen, highly touted first overall pick kind of prospect, he should be on this team or just around this team, even as an extra, for the Swedish developments, their system. Um, yeah, I think he's
And he's too good, even on a team like Buffalo that's so bad. He's just too good to leave off the roster and not try to find a place for him, even if you don't play him much throughout the entire tournament. But yeah, I completely agree. You're trying to develop, a guy who could be the face of Swedish hockey for a long time, Rasmus Dahlin. Then you want him to be there and be like, hey, this is a young star. Get attention for him and help, build up the game. Sweden's a good hockey country, and a guy like Rasmus Dahlin's a good thing for them.
yeah. We'll talk about honorable mentions at the end of this. There's a couple guys who could sneak in there as well. I have one guy who I think might be in there, maybe go over a guy like Brodin, but we'll see. Um, for the forward group, we got Elias Pettersson, Mika Zibanejad, and William Nylander as the first line. Pettersson generally a center, but I think could function as a winger because the Sweden does have a decent amount of center depth on this team. And I think Pettersson, Zibanejad, and Nylander, I think that's a terrifying skilled line.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you think about that?
Yeah, skill all day. This is probably one of the scariest lines in the entire tournament of our how we've projected, lines so far. This might be the scariest on talent for scoring and speed. I love this lineup. I love this lineup. I mean, I think putting it together, we did a good job for it. I can see Pedersen having a really good season when he does come back with Vancouver. Zibanejad just signed a big contract, and he's going to try and prove that. And I know Nylander's, some injuries in Toronto. Like he's going to have to step up. I can see him having a big season. Like I feel like all three of them are going to be hot coming in, and this is going to be like the line.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, their first line for sure. Second line, easily just as scary. We had Gabe Landeskog, Nick Backstrom, and Philip Forsberg. Forsberg, the left shot that does play the offside, plays the right wing in Nashville. Landeskog, and again, a big contract in the offseason, one of the best two-way Swedish forwards that this team has. And Nick Backstrom, the veteran center, um, plays with Ovechkin the regular season. A guy like Forsberg on his wing, playing a similar role, kind of that offside, uh, flipped. Obviously, him on the right side, not the left, but um, him on like a power play 2 situation, that would be insane too. I think this is a solid line for number 2.
That's a lot of veteran, leadership here too. I think they
Yeah,
can really command a game and like slow things down if Sweden's down a goal or something. You can really rely on these three.
absolutely. Third line, we got a little bit of a drop skill wise, but I think these guys could play a very good role for this team. We got Andre Burakovsky, Wild Bill, William Karlsson, and Elias Lindholm. Um, yeah, Lindholm I think is kind of dropped off a couple. Calgary hasn't been very good the last couple of years. He's been okay, but I think in this kind of a team, he's definitely the highest skilled guy on this line. Burakovsky has had a great couple of years in Colorado, and William Karlsson obviously had that 40 goal season with Vegas in their inaugural year. Isn't have that kind of goal scoring ability, but
Mhm.
is a very good centerman for having on your third line.
Yeah, he's probably fit more to like that third line, two-way kind of thing, playing a role to check the opposing, the top team, Canada or US team. Uh, as much as William Karlsson did have that 40 goal season, I don't see him scoring as much
Yeah.
here in the Olympics.
No, not with the amount of skill that's
Hmm.
on this team. We won't necessarily be needed for goals.
Hmm.
We got guys like Pedersen and Zibanejad on the team. Our fourth line, we got Olofsson, Eriksson, and Patrick Hornquist. This is kind of a little bit of a mix and match kind of. Not really sure what the identity of this line would be. Um, Patrick Hornquist, obviously the veteran. I think you need a guy like him. The amount of experience that he has in big game situations, he's a guy you need to have. Eriksson and Olofsson, the younger two. Um, yeah, Olofsson a little bit more of a power play specialist, so you might see that. What do you think about this fourth line, Alex?
I think what you said about Hornqvist's uh, yeah, it's absolutely true. He played with Crosby for a while. I think he can go up and down this roster. If you need to put him with Pedersen and Zibanejad and then have a line of like Olofsson, Eriksson, Nylander, I could see, you could kind of like roll four lines with Sweden. And Hornqvist lets you do that. He can play and complement anybody on this team and play up and down the roster and actually score with them. As much as he's dropped off into his 30s a little bit scoring in the NHL, he will absolutely complement anybody here.
Absolutely. And just as our extras, we got Ricard Raquel and Victor Arvidsson. Um, both guys that play out in California on teams that are looking to bounce back this season. But Arvidsson, I think specifically, could have a huge season in LA. And depending on how that
Mhm.
goes, could sneak into this lineup for sure.
Yeah, they've both had better seasons in their past, but they both have the potential to score huge goals. They could both become hot. Like I agree completely. Arvidsson probably more, but in Anaheim, with Raquel, they're about to get a bunch of young kids. He might just have a hot season on a losing team and make his way onto this roster. Maybe over a guy like Olofsson or Burakovsky, and that's it.
That's it.
That's it for
A
me.
couple other guys that could make it. Jesper Bratt, forward. Rasmus Anderson on D in Calgary is the guy I was talking about before. Could sneak into this lineup, but I think this is pretty solid, at least on your top end skill guys. This is what
Hmm.
Sweden's going to look like.
Maybe
Um,
even Wenberg as a center.
yep,
If Carlson or Eriksson doesn't quite fit. Get Adam Boquist if he has his big first big season. But yeah, other than that, I think it's pretty set.
yep. I like this team. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. If anyone, if we missed anybody, if our line combinations are totally off, let us know. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Peace.